Hey, friends, welcome elite entrepreneurs and empire builders to another incredible episode of Fran Opps Live. I'm your host, Jared, CEO here at Fran Opps, and this is where we help entrepreneurs franchise their future with confidence and clarity. That's really kind of the whole point of this conversation today. It's so critical. So thanks for joining us. As we go throughout, feel free to drop in the comments where you're from. And drop your questions too as we're going live. I want to get those to Erica. We're gonna dive deep into our conversation today. Every week we bring on founders, executives, franchise leaders to talk about what it really takes to succeed in business ownership. And so today I am excited to be joined by Erica Tarnowski. Forgive me if I butchered that, but I'm pretty sure it's how you say it. Director of Franchise Development at Aroma Joe's. But she's been around franchising for a minute. I'm excited for you to learn from her and to have this conversation too. And also just on that point, if you haven't heard, like Aroma Joe's has become a major disruptor in the coffee industry. What's unique about coffee is that it seems to be like the drug that our culture is okay with, that people can have an addiction to, and it's totally all right, right? And so it's also a booming space to make a lot of money on. It's a way to provide a product and a service to a community that really meets some needs. And so it's a cool space. I'm excited to dive in. Aroma Joe's has 125 plus shops across 8 states and continuing to grow quickly. Some of the top operators are seeing right around nearly $2 million in revenue, according to their Item 19. 100% Rainforest Alliance Certified coffee. We'll talk about that a little bit. Ethically sourced and artisan, roasted out there in Maine, which is kind of where they're from. And then they also have a new proprietary Rush energy drink that has been one of their top, if not their biggest seller. Excited to unpack that a little bit. And of course, a rapidly loyal customer base that fuels repeat business. That's what coffee shops do. But here's the thing. When you're looking at a brand like Aroma Joe's, and I've worked with many clients that have considered Aroma Joe's and other comparable coffee shops, you've got all of these competing opportunities the whole time, right? Especially in this space. You have all these competitive brands like Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks and the list goes on, from PJs and Dutch Bros and Scooters. And I mean, there's so many options that sit side by side and look the same with just a different package on it. And so the question really becomes, how do you choose between competing franchise opportunities when you are resolute about getting into business ownership and you're trying to find the right fit for you? You found a space, you found the industry, you found what you want to do, what you want to sell, what you want to be a part of. How do you then choose which is the right brand, which is the right franchise opportunity to move forward with? That's exactly what we are going to be tackling today. How to choose between competing franchise opportunities. Erica is going to share her insights both from the Aroma Joe's story and from working with candidates who've been in their exact shoes. So let's get into it without further ado. Erica, thanks for being here. This is Fran Opps Live. Erica, welcome to the greatest group in the metaverse, as we like to say. Welcome.
Thank you. I love that video. It pumps me up every time I watch it. And I've been here for 2 years.
Psyched, right? You don't even need to drink coffee after you watch that video. You're already hyped up. So good.
Yeah.
So seriously, welcome. Thanks for being here. How did I do at pronouncing your last name today?
You actually were pretty. Listen. Some people I want to say God bless you after they try. You're pretty close. So nice job. It's a slight stumble, but other than that, you hit it.
It's so good. So I'm excited to dive into this, and this is the perfect brand, the perfect person to have this conversation with, because you're in a tough market.
Mhm.
a tough space in franchising. So I'm excited to dive in. But before we do that too, can you just share a little bit about your story, your background, kind of how you got into franchising as well?
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite topics to discuss with people, not from my own story, but because everybody, except for two people, and in the thousands of people I've met in franchising, none of them got into it intentionally. Literally, I've talked
Mm,
to two.
yeah.
So prior to entering the franchise space, I actually, about 10 years ago, is when I first started with Fantastic Sam's. And that was my first foray into business development, into
Ah,
franchising, anything like that. Prior to, I lived in Brazil for 5 years. My husband's from there, and
oh,
we
wow.
lived down there. I learned I did not want to teach English and I did not want to be a translator. So I checked those off the list, and then I moved back to the US and said, universe, give me what it is I need to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Linda Chadwick, who was the CEO at the time, who's now the CEO
Okay.
of Rita's Italian Ice, kind of
Oh,
gave me a
yeah.
shot. And
Yeah.
I fell absolutely in love with it. So spent some
Yeah.
time there, went and worked with 919 Marketing, helped them build up their franchise development side of the house. Decided I wanted to get back into Fran Dev, and did a stint in the cannabis space, right? So we were trying to franchise the dispensary model in two different brands
Yeah.
I was with, and
Yeah. Yeah.
a little too early to the game.
Okay.
And I took some time off between those before getting into Aroma Joe's 2 years
Wow.
ago.
So you went to like two extremes. You were with one brand that has zero competition in the
Right,
cannabis space. There's
right,
really no franchises there. To
right.
about the exact opposite, about as much competition as you can find.
Never mind a legacy
Franchising.
brand, right? That like
Yeah.
has had 1,000 locations when I started,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
cannabis we had none, and this one's like somewhere in between. Not to mention at the agency I was with, Scooters was actually one of my biggest clients, so
Oh,
I worked
really?
very, very intimately with them. Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're
Wow.
familiar
That's
with the
awesome.
coffee wars.
Well, let's talk about Aroma Joe's a little bit because it's got a unique story, right? So, four cousins with a vision that's now turned into 125 plus shops across 8 states. And hang on, all of our listeners, to the very end, too. I want to share a brief founder story. It's pretty cool to hear all four of them kind of talk and engage together. But what do you think really has fueled that kind of growth for Aroma Joe's?
You know, honestly, it's so interesting. So I want to talk about one of the things you mentioned in your intro, right? Like
Mm,
I just said I worked with Scooters, right? When this
mhm,
opportunity was presented to me, I was so hesitant to get into this space for the exact reason that you just said.
mm,
Competition is
yep,
stiff. Every time I turn around, every franchise show I go to, every event I attend, there's a new coffee concept that has
mm,
their own spin on something.
yeah,
And I knew that that was a real piece of the puzzle in this, right?
yeah,
And it would impact the success of my role particularly, right? And it would be challenging.
hmm,
I am not one to veer away from challenges, but the reality is that exactly what you just said. So I
yeah,
interviewed, I met with the then COO, who's now our president, and I met with the HR director, and I was like, well, I like these people, right? Like, I think they got something. And it was right around this time of year. So, approaching our convention. So, we have our annual convention in November. So, they said, hey, if you can, we'd love to have you join us at convention for just, an afternoon, meet the rest of
yeah,
the team, and,
hmm,
kind of hit all the check boxes, right, with the people I need to interview with. Okay,
yeah.
great.
Hmm.
I'm not doing anything else. I'm unemployed, so let's do it. So when I walked into that room and I met those people, Jared, it
Yeah.
was life changing.
Mm,
I was like, everyone here is legitimately passionate, caring,
yeah.
the commitment to excellence, like it was infused in every bit. And that wasn't just the convention. I mean,
Mm.
I had once I accepted the offer and started my role, I had a number of friends ask me, is everybody really that happy at Aroma Joe's? I was like, it's weird, right? And so
Yeah.
so I think, to answer your question, right, like getting back to that, I think
Yeah.
that's really what has driven our success. It's a sense of authenticity. It's a sense of really caring about the communities that we're in, the people that are in our shops, the franchisees that have helped us get to where we are, and continue to just thrive and be really the reason that we continue to expand.
Yeah, wow, it's so good and so relatable too. That I'm as a broker, as a consultant myself, I meet with so many people that have a lot of times. One of the most common things I hear from the very first conversation with an individual is, "I'm looking for something without any competition." It's like, okay, we're talking about cannabis.
We had
Outside of that,
cannabis, but that's
that's it.
gone.
That's it. Every brand has competing brands with them, and so it's the point, I think, of what I get to do and then explain is like, I'm going to help you find the right fit, right? And because we believe that here, that more important than a brand name is the brand fit.
100%.
And I always use the analogy, like even within this past year, that a couple of blocks from me, I've had two of the biggest fast food burger concepts closed down. 2 blocks from me, 2 of them closed down. Yeah. And I'm going to guess that happens pretty often. And I'm going to tell you, it's not because people didn't know about the brand. It's not because people had never seen the Golden Arches. It's not because people had never heard of seen this king that sells burgers. You know what I mean? It's there's something else going on. And I would put my money down that it's got to be the fit. And that's why this matters so much, is talking through this stuff too. So let's dive into that topic a little bit. When someone's exploring franchise ownership, like with this, they often have multiple opportunities. And even this too, like there's other spaces that have even more competition, like senior care. My goodness, I feel like in my list of brands I work with, we got like 30 different senior care brands out there, all doing incredible stuff. So like to put in front. So from your perspective, then, what are some of the very first factors they should be looking at?
So I would say, and I love this topic because I actually have the same conversation in my first call with every lead, every candidate that I talk with, is like, listen, you know, we're getting together. Like, I don't know if you're going to like us, you know, I don't know if I'm going to like you, to be honest with you.
We're dating.
We're dating, right? To put it, in terms of just clear, I guess. Actually, funny enough, my former boss, I'll give a shout out, even though he's technically a competitor to Justin Livingston from Ziggy's, always used to say,
shout out to Ziggy's, another coffee brand.
And right, he we're not scared, but in the cannabis space, he'd say, we're dating, you know, we want to date before we walk down the aisle and say our I do's. It's very much the same thing, right? But I feel like my job is to prepare you for what you're signing up for, right? I mean, this is a 10-year minimum commitment, right? I mean, sure, things don't go well, right? You want to sell, fine, we can work that out when we get there. But the point being is that, like, I want you to like us and we need to like you. If that doesn't jive, if you're not willing to do what it takes to win and to follow the formula, right? And to sort of ask for help when you need and show up when things, you know, when people call on you, then like it's probably not for you. I had a guy one time with another brand I was with say, you know, why are your colors what they are? He says, you know, what if you went to, I was thinking more of like this. And I was like, you know what? I think franchising might not actually be for you.
Yeah.
Like if that's
not even the conversation that is helpful right
like,
now.
Are you guys open to that? I'm like, no, we're not rebranding because you don't like the color. Like, it's not how it works, right? And so like I have to weed those people out because honestly, I want to sleep at night, and to be honest, I don't really want the headache of my operations team and my marketing team and my, you know, R&D team. I don't want those people coming to me afterward going, who is this? And why are they here? They are a nightmare. And they're taking up 90% of my time, right? I want you to be engaged, involved, excited to be here, enthusiastic, right? Knowing that, right, the entrepreneurial sort of journey is an up and down path. It's not straight and narrow. So
it's also interesting that, like, and I hadn't really thought about this until as you're kind of unpacking this, but most buyers,
Hmm.
they think about it as a one-way relationship. They're the
Hmm.
ones with the money. They're the ones that's going to be buying and doing the work. So it's totally and they're, the ball's in their court
Yeah.
to driving the whole process, right?
Yep.
But as you're kind of unpacking it, what you're kind of saying is like, just as much as this individual is exploring competing franchise opportunities, you
And I
guys
encourage that, by the
you
way.
guys are exploring competing franchisees,
Hmm.
like,
That's right. Yeah.
which is fascinating. So you
Right.
talk about how big of a deal like brand culture is
It's
then
enormous.
to when someone is trying to decide between different brands, and you guys are trying to decide between different individuals.
And that's honestly, I've gone to some different shows, and I'll get just kind of phone calls out, and there, and people ask me, "What makes you different? What
Mm,
what makes you unique?" Right? And I'm
yeah,
like, "Listen, I'll tell you about our products. I'll tell you about some of the sort of things that we do differently from a logistical standpoint, right? Or a
yeah,
straight and narrow. But honestly,
right,
I was like, what makes us who we are the people that walk through the doors every single day."
yeah,
And that is everybody from the president himself to the
mm,
founders that are still
hmm,
involved to the shareholders to the baristas and the
hmm,
team
yep,
leads and the customers. I mean, the impact that we have in that we infuse into
yeah,
our communities that we're in is it's contagious and it's awesome. It's a
right,
really, it sounds cultish, like I don't mean to
yeah,
sound like that,
yeah.
but it
Well, it's
really
something that you can't find on
it's
Google.
intangible. Yeah,
Yeah, you can't
totally.
search it and get the information on what that feeling is really like,
I
and
know. I
that's such a
know.
big deal. We are emotional creatures. We
Yeah.
buy emotionally. I can't tell how many people I come across that are like, yeah, I'm slow in my due diligence. I'm a thinker. I'm an analyst. I like data. I'm going to collect. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but that's not what you're going to buy on. I mean, I can
Right.
gather all the information, all these brands for you. Got some good things to evaluate across the board, but like
Yep.
ultimately at the end of the day, you're going to buy whether you know it or not based on emotion. That's just how it goes.
That's
From
right.
buying a shirt at a local store to buying a franchise, it's so much of it comes down to based on our natural human instinct of which is emotion that's ingrained
Yeah.
inside of us. Yeah,
That's true.
big
Yeah,
time.
I was talking to my 16-year-old son last night because one of the things that is interesting and sort of a differentiator, right, is the young audience that we have captured, right? So because of our energy drinks and they're, different, you can customize flavors, and so they're all different colors and all this stuff, and we do really cool LTOs and
Yeah.
limited time offers for those of you outside the QSR space. But what's really neat, and my son said this to me last night, he goes, yeah, every first of all, the kids in New
Yeah.
Hampshire and Maine call it aromas. So they've already given it their own little nickname. And he goes,
Okay.
yeah, I walk through the halls in my high school, he goes, every morning, and everybody has got their aromas. They've all
Wow.
got their drink in their hand. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
Love it.
ugh, they're drinking energy drinks at 7:30 in the morning. I'm like, well, that's pretty cool, right? But it's a whole thing. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
That is awesome. You mentioned Rita's, and I've done a little work with Rita's too. And every time I would talk to someone that's curious about that brand, they always, almost 100% of the time, an individual who is interested about Rita's, they reach out because they have some emotional attachment to it, where it's like,
Yes.
I grew up on this, or I used to live in the New England area and I saw this and blah blah
Core
blah, and I want to bring it to
memory.
where I'm at. And it's like, great, that is 100%, like, that's an emotional connection
Yeah.
to it. And so big deal. What are some of the Let me ask you this, what are some of the common mistakes? I know you've mentioned a couple of, what are some of the other
Mhm.
common mistakes that you see entrepreneurs making when comparing different franchise options?
You kind of pulled it out actually a little bit, alluded to it, and that is like just looking at the numbers, just
Yeah,
purely
yeah,
identifying and
yeah,
comparing based on the numbers. Um, that is one. The other one is, if it's a brick and mortar, which is what my history has been in,
yep.
is finding a location before you've signed, or having your heart set
Oh
or
yeah, for sure.
attend, like, oh, I can see it here, and you're like,
Yeah,
listen, here's all the reasons that doesn't work, right? Like, this
yeah,
is the team that we have that does all these, approves,
yep,
disapprove, whatever. that's not going to fly because of X, Y, and Z. Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Mhm.
I'm sorry to have broken your heart, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other mistake is thinking that you can walk into almost any business
Mm.
as a passive owner. The goal
Oh yeah,
is
come on.
to become semi-passive
Yeah.
eventually, right?
Yeah. Yep.
That takes years
Yeah.
of time, energy, effort, right? And there's a strategy behind that people don't, they think, well, I'll just make a couple bucks on the side. Like, no,
Yeah.
you're not going to make a couple bucks on the side.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't know anybody in franchising or in franchise ownership that would disagree that the real wealth comes from multi-unit ownership, and that's
Oh, yeah.
impossible without some level of passivity across them. You can't
Yeah,
be out on
that's
location
right.
all the time, right? It's
Right.
literally impossible. And so
Yeah.
that is the goal to get there. But to think that way, I get that a lot too from people going, "Hey, I'm looking for something that's completely passive." And
Right. You're like,
there does seem to
go
be
to
a
the
shift
stock
right
market. Like, I don't
now.
know what to tell you.
Now you've been in franchising a lot longer than I, right? Like, but I do see a shift recently in this past year or two of people not wanting to leave their job, their career, and want to add on something
Good luck.
relatively semi-passive, and that's such a hard line to walk. And it's like, I want to help you do this, but you need to understand from the gate, if you put semi-passive time in, typically you're going to get semi-passive results back. All right.
Yep.
Is that fair to say with Aroma Joe's? Like at a coffee shop, it seems like it would be semi-passive-ish from the beginning, but you're saying not the case.
Is component of this, and additionally, the what my ideally a lot of times, I shouldn't say ideally because there's different scenarios, right? But if you're coming to the table and you're a husband and wife team, for example,
Yep.
right? Let's say that you've got a family, or you've got, even if you're just married, don't both leave your jobs, right?
Okay.
Don't, like, one of you should stay, one of you can go, but one of you needs to have a steady stream of income, because you are not going to put the key in that door and open on day one and start paying your mortgage with the revenue that you're generating.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, come on, man, and that's getting people to understand that, right? Is wait, I'm not making money, but no, you're putting right? Like, this takes a minute. And again, if there's a silver bullet that said, hey, flip a switch and we're good to go, like, game changer, right? Like, I'm out of a job if that happens. But in this case, it's listen, if one of you can maintain and the other can sort of be and eventually, again, your goal, getting to the point of not, where you can both leave your job, right? But you have to be making enough revenue with, potentially multiple locations. You might be able to do it with one, but potentially multiples that will allow you to do that. But do not go running from your steady paycheck thinking that this is going to be immediate gratification.
So what should they be doing, right? We've talked a lot about some of the mistakes, some of the missteps in the process. What are some of the questions that a candidate or someone exploring franchise ownership, what are some of the questions that they should be asking, either with you or with me or within the validation process? What are some of the questions that you think they should be asking to really get the inside scoop when they're evaluating between a couple of different brands?
Yeah. Another, again, just with the great questions, just coming in strong. So if they're talking to you or I, right, my first interaction with a candidate is really like, tell me about you. What are you looking to achieve? And we have a very honest conversation about, I promise to be, as transparent as I legally can. I'm sometimes transparent to a fault, to be honest with you, not to a legal fault, but like, I talk, I like to express myself. Right. So, I say, listen, I promise to be transparent with you. If a time comes where I don't think this is the right fit for you, I'm going to tell you. You can try to prove me wrong, but I'm going to tell you. I usually know, like, right off the bat, but sometimes I'm surprised, right? I always encourage people to say, to really look at, how does this fit into my life? How is my life going to change how is it going to become better? How might it become more difficult? But knowing that it's going to change. The other thing is, once they get to the point in the process and validation where they're calling franchisees, to ask them about money. Absolutely. Ask them how much they make, how much they take home, whatever, all the line items. Ask away. But first and foremost, ask them what they did right, where they went wrong, what they would do again if they did it again, if they had to go back and do it again. How does the franchisor support them? Do they look for more support? Do they need less support? What, where does the franchisor
and what does that mean? Because every brand says they have great support, right? There's not a single franchise is like, oh, honestly, our support kind of sucks, right? Everyone's like, they're the greatest. So that's a good question. What does that mean? Yeah, right. What does that mean? Well, that's a good question.
And you're right, it is. The other, and what I tell people a lot is like, listen, and you get people from backgrounds that are so diverse, from people who have run restaurants and been QSR experts their entire lives, to general contractors or financial advisors, right? And so where I think the franchisor comes in as the key piece of the puzzle is to fill in the gaps where you as an individual with an individual background need the support. So if you don't know how to run the numbers, if you don't know really what a P&L is supposed to look like and how often do you, right? Yeah. We can step in and say, hey, let's walk through this together every week, every month, whatever that is. If you need help operationally, teaching people, training people, recruit it, right? Our operations team is in our right. We're right there with you. And that's that, I think, because again, everybody's different. Once you find your style and your groove and your, swing, awesome. We'll be here. Call on us when you need us. But right. Like we teach, I use the analogy. We teach people to fish at first, right? We bring them in, teach them to fish. And then by year 3, they think they're on wicked tuna and we have to reel them back in and say, no, you can't do that anymore. Okay. Like calm down, relax. You're going way off brand. We can't sell pizza or hot dogs. Slow your roll.
Yeah, that's so good. Let's talk a little bit more about Aroma Joe's. We're kind of into here too. For entrepreneurs considering the coffee, food, QSR sector, what are some of the key differentiators about Aroma Joe's compared to other brands that they might be evaluating in the coffee space?
Yeah, great question. So a couple of things, right? Like our culture is, I would argue, is far and away better than again, not bad mouthing or talking about any other brands, right? I
completely just, objective opinion, right?
Taking every emotion out of the equation, right? Yeah. No, but first of all, like we're very we're not taking a shotgun approach to anything, Jared, as you know, and for those of you out there who are sort of tuning in or watching, Jared's been a huge sort of supporter of us, but every time he goes to check on a market, like we're like, sorry, man, we're not going there yet. And there's a reason for that, right? There's a reason for that.
It's very intentional. About your development.
We're very intentional and we're very strategic. And so up and down the eastern seaboard, right? Like our foothold happens to be in Dunkin's backyard, which few other brands dare to venture into. But that's where we've built our foothold, right? And so it's our backyard. We've done well there. We're expanding outward from there. Okay. And then, we have a presence in Florida, which is growing. We have one that will open next month in the Cape Coral area, 2 more in that region, Fort Myers. That'll be probably next year, shortly thereafter. And then I've actually got a bunch of people in Georgia, right? So some of it has to do simply with the location, right? What's available, right? Where can you go? If you can go, you narrow it down to 5 brands and, you say, hey, okay, I have to pick. All right. Spend some time learning about, the brands. Again, I would say culture. Obviously numbers are key, right? Like it's a big piece of it, but find a brand that like you align with. You like the person that you're talking to. You've maybe talked to a couple other people. You like them. You get a sense of
you like the colors.
You like the colors are fine, right? So we have a map, right? It's red and blue. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe we should change those, right? Like, this is looking a little political, right? It's like, where can you go? Like, well, there's nothing to do with that, I promise. I don't want to scare anybody off. Either way, right? Yeah. So that has to do with that, but also just how do you align, right? Like, how do you align with it? Listen, our energy drink, like I said, it's a proprietary, blend, or it's a proprietary formulation, and we have, we're constantly working on, improving it and whatever. I would argue, I mean, Dutch Bros does a pretty good job, right? But like, we've got that on lockdown. I mean, it is in Maine and New Hampshire, it makes up about 50% of our sales, and as you can imagine, the margins are much higher. Because there's no middleman, right? Yeah, it's crazy.
That's crazy as a coffee shop that half your sales comes from an energy drink. That's nuts.
I know. Yeah. We also do offer limited food options. So the founders actually, I heard this story recently. Yeah. They opened across, one of their early locations was opened across the street from a Dunkin', and they would watch people go to Dunkin', get food, and then drive across the street to Aroma Joe's to get their coffee. And they were like, why don't we just sell some food too? So we had, it's like pre-prepared stuff. So it's not like you have to put, a kitchen into your location. It's, a couple of counter toasters or whatever, but it serves the need of a certain percentage of people that don't want to go to two places, right? For sure. Which a lot of brands don't have. They don't have any food offerings, and so those are just kind of added revenue streams and a bit of added value, right? We see that the split of all of our products in newer, more emerging markets is pretty even, but as the market, as the brand awareness gets built, and you see people starting to try the energy drinks, it just takes off. So so good. Erica, I can't thank you enough for being a part of this too. Last question for you. For anyone curious about Aroma Joe's and wanting to learn more, where do you suggest they start? Well, honestly, I would tell them to start with you, because again, you're like our biggest champion out there. You and I got a couple others on your the AI group over there, Business Alliance group. So close to my heart. I love everybody at that team. But listen, do some research, right? Our website, our franchise website, you can even just Google Aroma Joe's franchise or whatever. It should pop up pretty quick, right there at the top. And do some research, read some articles, right? Check out our online stuff, whatever. But reach out to you. Always welcome to reach out to me, right? If, whatever, you fill out the form online, right? There's a bunch of different ways. You send a carrier pigeon, a raven, I think is, I don't know if they're still doing like horse and buggy. The horse. Yeah. Like what was it? Pony Express. Yeah. If you can find some, that would be cool. Like you'd be in, I'd be like, sign right now. Here's the, we'll just get for sure. And of course, I mean, everyone, they know how to use the internet. They go to the Aroma Joe's website, use the Google machine, like you can gather all this stuff. And that's the beauty of it, is like, you don't need to. And I appreciate you saying that about connecting with us, because it's like, you don't need me just to gather information for you. You probably have done that yourself. You will do that yourself. You can do all of that. The beauty of what I get to do is help serve as a translator for you. Connecting the dots between who you are, what your goals are, what you're wanting to see, the big outcome be, and then finding the right fit for you with all of those things in mind. And that's really what I get to do. I also will get to serve as a coach for you. And there's going to be in this process that you're going to be just working with Erica, who's incredible at her job and incredible at fighting for Aroma Joe's. That's also what she does for a living. So she's going to try to sell you on this brand. I better be good. Exactly. Now, I'm not going to connect you with her in Aroma Joe's if I don't believe that there's at least a strong potential fit here. But when we do, I still get to help serve in that role of like kind of kicking your butt in gear. If you're allowing fear to creep in, you're allowing these uncertainties or doubts to kind of take over. If you're stuck on one or two things and you're going to lose out on a huge opportunity because of those things, I can kind of help you explore those as well. But if it's not the right fit, I'll be the first one to tell you, I don't think this is right, and here's why.
And so we kind of go through that process together. I get to serve in your corner there. So I appreciate you saying that, Erica. And I'm excited to continue to work with you guys as well throughout this whole process. And for anyone watching now or later, even if you're watching this like 6 months from now, you can type Aroma in the comments below, or if you're watching this in YouTube, type Aroma in the comments. Then I will reach out. We will reach out. Our team will, to begin the conversation of where do you actually start and learning more about your fit and finding the right brand, right opportunity for you. So while they're doing that, again, Erica, I can't say enough. Like, thank you for your time. Thanks for being a part of this. And you're in the middle of driving from place to place. And I like to
checking out sites, meeting candidates.
Yeah, don't think, viewers, that she's just in her car because she's trying to get a feel of what the Aroma Joe clientele is really experiencing.
I'm waiting in line all this time. Can you imagine?
Working a car, but it's so good. I can't appreciate you enough for hopping on and doing this.
No,
so
I appreciate the opportunity.
Like so much value in this conversation today, and we could continue to go on, but it's exciting stuff. So once again, thanks for being a part of it.
No, you're the best. Thanks, Jared.
Yeah. All right, everyone. We'll see you later. Hey, I got one more video for you to watch, some founder stories. So check this out. See you guys.
Family growing up always came together at our grandmother's house in Southern Maine. Remained close after we graduated from high school. I think I talked to Tim first, and I shared what I was thinking about coming back to our hometown and home area, starting this coffee business. Tim was all in.
I had no hesitation. When he asked me, I was all in.
Before I could even get the words out of my mouth, he was like, I'm doing it, I'm going. That led to calls to Mike. Mike was in a construction company, was doing quite well.
And he said, hey, I'm ready to pack this thing up and move it home. If you're interested, do you want to buy into this for $5,000? And that sounds cliche now, right? Like everyone has a story like that, but this is legit, like this happened.
He trusted me and trusted us that, hey, this is a worthwhile venture to try. That led to calls to Brian. He has always been customer service.
When my background came up through Walt Disney World, which I was a bartender and a bar manager, and there was some flair bartending and all that kind of fun stuff that was engagement related, Marty called me in Boston, and I really had to think about it for a while, because not only did I have an apartment in Boston, but I had a job that had a really good level of responsibility, and it was going to grow from there. But I also was not seeing my son a lot. He was with the nanny for quite a long time, so I really had some thinking to do.
That's how it began. The four of us said, we're gonna make this happen, and that's what we did.
He rolls into my driveway with this giant trailer, and the first hut is on the trailer, and we unload it at my house. I have an electrician come over and wire my garage with a camper plug so we can plug it in. We get all the equipment up and running. We start making drinks, and we're like, we need to find a place to put this. East Rochester Shoryville Plaza gave us our shot.
And that one is still in business to this day.
It was a big leap of faith for them to bring me in and give me equal ownership with them to start this brand. But I quickly became very, very comfortable with them. I trusted them. You meet people that you trust right away, you get a gut feeling about, and I had that with the founders.
It was never about amounts of money to make. It was never about the amount of stores to open. It was all about just have a cool, fun place that's different. That, you know, we have customers that drive by that might be in a hurry or don't even want anything, but they honk and wave to the baristas that are working, right? Like that's, for me, that's what it's about.
You know, sometimes you're the first person they see in the day to start their day. It's important that that's a positive interaction, and you serve them that energy that they need to get going for the day.